Yo, what's up, guys? So unfortunately, Saigon is now under Directive 16, which means that pretty much everything is shut down. You can't walk around in larger groups than 3 people. It's a little bit hectic. There's a lot of people trying to flee the country at the moment. People are very scared. It's very difficult to get domestic flights. So if they're in different parts of Vietnam and they're trying to get to Saigon, a lot of people are having a lot of anxiety. There's no Grab cars. You can still use Grab bikes, and food delivery is still possible. So at the moment, it's a little bit hectic here. We're gonna go take a walk. We're in Binh Thanh district over by the Landmark 81 tower, and we're gonna go for a stroll and see what everything looks like today. And you know, I guess everybody try to keep their heads. All right, guys, we're gonna go for a stroll through Binh Thanh, and let's see what we can find. Let's see what the city looks like. So it's bittersweet because I've been wanting to do this walk for a while. This is the building that my old jiu-jitsu club was in. At the moment, there is no jiu-jitsu, at least officially. I know some clubs are meeting privately, which I'm not sure how good of an idea that is, but my club is not. So there's no training for me. I've been wanting to do this walk because it's a really interesting part of Saigon. Binh Thanh is being developed kind of as a second downtown, as you can see. This is the Manor building here. This is one of the older high-rises in the city. And then, of course, you have the Landmark complex and Central Park, and everything is all kind of packed into that area there. The Manor is Manor 1 and Manor 2. So this is Manor 1, and this is Manor 2. So we're gonna go for a stroll and see what it looks like during Directive 16 in Saigon Ghost Town. And you know, I guess let's all try to keep our heads and stay calm. I mean, it's pretty hectic. People are really freaked out. It's really hard for people who are trying to leave the country because everybody was like, how do I get to the airport if there's not gonna be any Grab? But it kind of turns out that you can still use taxis and private car service. So I'm not entirely sure what the point of stopping Grab is, but it is what it is. It's stopped. I took a bike over. You have to do a health declaration in order to take a bike. So you get this little QR code and you give to the guy, and you're able to get on a bike. So there is transport, it's just limited. And like I said, you're probably gonna end up having to use like either a private car service or, you know, motorbike. Like I said, Mei Lin taxi, all the taxi services are still going. So I guess it's not like you're stuck, it just creates a couple more barriers. All right, trooping along. So yeah, like I said earlier, I've been wanting to do this walk for a minute because you go by some really cool places. Right behind the whole complex here is the Saigon River. So we're basically gonna be walking along the Saigon River. This road is called Wing Hu Can. This road used to flood really, really bad. And then in like a matter of a couple weeks, they raised it. So now the road is completely redone. It's much higher. This sidewalk used to be like a pretty sizable drop. Now it's like leveled with the street. So things are kind of chaotic in Saigon at the moment, guys. People are really freaked out. Lots of people are leaving. Not just people with bad visas, but like people who just kind of like feel kind of sketched out by everything that's going on. A lot of people are just getting out of here. Like quite a few people that I know are leaving, even though their visas are actually good. And I'm in a similar position. I've decided I'm gonna get out of here too. I'm not location dependent anymore, guys. I could kind of live anywhere, and I really do want to start expanding the business. So I figure while my TRC is still good, I might as well try to get out of here, because there's no guarantee that the flight is even gonna take off. So that way I have like several months to attempt this, and it's not gonna break the bank if it doesn't work out the first time. So that's kind of the plan at the moment. We'll be flying out of here in about a week, and my TRC is good till January, so I figure it's better to get going while I'm still in good standing. I wouldn't want to wait, come to the end of the TRC, and then for some reason it's more problematic or complicated at that point. So I figure get out while the getting is good, you know? So it's kind of fun for me to walk over here, guys, because like I said, this is by my old jiu-jitsu club, so we used to come over here for smoothies and stuff. And the Freshio is a chain, for those of you guys who don't know. They have them all over Saigon. They make smoothies. They're not the best. I actually like Smoothie Factory better. This complex across the street is Saigon Pearl. There's also a Tao Dien Pearl, which is over in District 2. So the Central Park, Saigon Pearl, it's kind of all the same complex, basically. Things have been a little crazy, man. I've been seeing a lot of just real ugly, negative shit on the Facebook group pages as usual, but it's particularly fucking mean and cruel at the moment. You'll have a kid ask some question that's like perfectly sensible, and all these fucking like grown men will just start trying to jump on them and scream that they're on illegal visas, even if they don't know the person. Just the troll thing is just absolutely disgusting. It's actually quite pathetic. I mean, a lot of these guys are just sad losers, man. They're like, in their country, there's no way they would have a girlfriend, and they would definitely be working like some dead-end job. But because Asia values white skin, here they have some sort of a status in the society. And it's actually a little bit fucking crazy because it goes to their heads, and they start to think that they're way better than they really are, which is something that I never really understood, man. I've always been somewhat self-depreciating and had a sense of humor about the whole thing. I mean, that's why I call myself the white monkey, because I don't take myself too seriously, man. It's, you know, it's just what it is. But some of these guys, man, they've been out here for 15 years on maybe a partnership visa. They're bitter, you know, they don't really have anything in their lives, they're bored. You know, and they just get on these chat groups and start talking shit about people and being negative and just really spreading horrible gossip and rumors and abusing people who are just asking them questions. Like, I mean, the whole thing is pretty fucking gross. I mean, I never really understood why you need to shit on someone to make yourself feel better, but I'm pretty sure it comes from a place of insecurity. I mean, if you feel secure in yourself as a man, and you know, you're confident in who you are and what you're capable of, you don't really need to like try to bully somebody, you know? I actually, it's funny enough, at that gym that I showed you, the tower where we started at my old jiu-jitsu club, I had this one guy, this big fat Korean American, just wouldn't leave me alone, you know? Just kept bothering me, making stupid fucking comments. And you know, I'm a patient guy, man. I'm almost 40. I'm really not trying to fight with anybody. And you know, I tried for 6 months to ignore him, and finally enough was enough, and I just had to fucking beat the shit out of that clown. And I'm not proud of it. It's not something I like think he should be doing, and I definitely don't think I should be fighting anybody. Like I said, I'm damn near 40. I'm finally financially successful. I don't need to be fighting anybody, but after a while, man, you really do got to put your foot up some bully's ass, because they won't realize that you're trying not to hit them. They'll take your kindness for weakness. They'll take you trying to be mature and not get into any trouble as weakness, and they'll think that's an excuse to keep fucking with you. And I think it's like a lot, you know, a lot in common with trolls, really. I think they're basically just bullies, because if you were to encounter them in a one-on-one situation in the street, I would bet money that they're soft as baby shit. If you've got to talk shit behind a fucking computer screen, then you ain't hard, homie. You know, simple as that. You get, you know, people try to all the time message me and try to get me to like get upset because some guy's like talking shit online or something, and it's like, listen, man, I show where I live. I show the jiu-jitsu club that I've been training at now for a number of years since I've lived here. If somebody really feels like there's something they need to do, I'm not all that hard to find, you know? Come do what you fucking need to do, you know? But I don't have time for people talking online. Most of the time they're just pretty they're just trying to get clicks. They're just trying to get some attention. Maybe they've got themselves like a little YouTube channel and they think a little bit of drama is gonna get them engagement. But you know, guys, 9 times out of 10, I mean, if you have to talk shit on the internet, it means you're pretty fucking soft. I mean, because if you really have a problem with somebody, you know, be a man. Contact them, call them out. You know? Yeah, if somebody feels there's something they need to do with me, man, like I said, I'm not that hard to reach. You know, you let me know the time and the place and we can go. You know, we could even put gloves on and be gentlemen. It's up to you. But running your mouth online behind a computer screen where you know you're safe, I mean, to me, that's not a sign of a man. It's a sign of a scared little boy. And a lot of these cats are. They're trolling because there's something in their life that's missing. They feel like they need to shit on people because they're unhappy. And it really comes from their own insecurity. You know, it has nothing really to do with the world. It has to do with them. There's guys who've been out here for like 10, 15 years, and they never did anything with themselves. You know, maybe they married a Vietnamese girl, so they have a partnership visa. And literally, that's their accomplishment. You know, a lot of these cats have girlfriends who don't even understand what they're saying. Because God, imagine if they actually understood what they were saying. No human being would even want to spend time with them. I had this one troll very recently. He's screaming at me. He's telling me I should show him my TRC as if he's the fucking law. Pretty funny. Turns out he had some skeletons in his closet. A couple of my Vietnamese friends got me some links. And it turns out he's gotten himself into trouble with the Vietnamese government in the past for saying some pretty horrible stuff about one of the war heroes that, you know, Vietnam national hero from the war. And yeah, apparently this guy hasn't learned his lesson. He still needs to run his mouth on the internet. But then you look at a photo of the guy and you can kind of tell why. Just some old, worn out loser. You know, like you said, he married some Vietnamese girl. The best he'll ever do is teach English. Probably been in Vietnam way longer than me. Still doesn't have as good connections as I do. I mean, these guys are a dime a dozen, unfortunately. I had a real weird situation the other day. I was at one of my favorite visa agents' offices, and some guy came in, and he knew the YouTube, and he's like, "Oh, you're on YouTube," and he's all friendly to my face. And I'm pretty sure it was him later in a day or so that was posting on one of these ESL forums saying I'm a scam and da-da-da. He's like, "I know what visa agent he uses. You could just go into their office." Because the problem is, guys, is he's imagining that I would do that. What I'm doing is what he would do, where he just would have one agent, and that's like all, right? And oh, anybody could do that. It's like, dude, I'm not you. I have like 10 agents, bro. Because not every agent can do what you need them to do, and some of them can do certain things that other ones can't. So, you know, but that's what I mean. Like, they superimpose their own insecurities on you. And they can't imagine that there's a person who's more successful at, you know, life, at being social, at relationships, more successful than they could be. You know? It's actually quite sad. It's quite pathetic. It's jealousy, insecurity and jealousy. Because they've been here a long time, some of them not, but some of them have. And in the time they're here, they haven't really accomplished anything. So they're mad and they're bitter and they think they're better than everybody, and they're mad at the young, they're mad at the expats that are more successful than they are. Really, it's kind of pathetic, you know. And like I said, because it's the limits of their imagination, you know. There's nobody else to blame but them. So it's turning out to be quite a sunny little afternoon. Late afternoon, guys, almost the evening. Going for a stroll because the weather's not too bad. Like I said, I've been wanting to take a walk over here for a minute because it's such an interesting area. It's like such a blend of like kind of almost like slum-like shacks with like crazy high-rises. Like, see, this is very like much kind of like a slum dwelling. And then you have Vinholm's Golden River just right there. So that area over here, this is being developed. At the moment, it's not a very good place to live. There's not a whole lot over there, but in 5 years, it's definitely going to be the spot. So this is Bintan District. We're going to stroll down to District 1 and just see what we see. Like I said, I mean, look at the mix, you know? These kind of slum-like shacks. And then, you know, traditional Viet houses mixed in with high-rises. Bintan is a very interesting area. Parts of Bintan have relatively high crime and theft. Other parts of Bintan are extremely luxurious. We're also very close to Japantown. I don't think I'm gonna wander into Japantown today, but Japantown is quite an interesting area. We're just at the fringes of it, actually. We're gonna go stroll and see what we see. Oh, that's nasty. There's a bunch of garbage back there. Look at that, guys. Ew. Yeah, that sucks. Well, Saigon's a big city. What can you do? So yeah, guys, with the trolls, I mean, these guys are pathetic. It's just so sad. Like, how do you have so much time in your life? So I used to argue with them because I figured, I was like, well, for the videos, it's kind of good for engagement, you know, because the more people commenting, the more it drives your video up. But I kind of feel like it's not, like, just a waste of time, really. It's not productive. I mean, they're getting their rocks off, even if you are abusing them. Like the other day, the guy who it turned out that he had a lot of dirt in his past, I out-trolled him. And I think, you know, he went pretty silent. I don't think he knew what to do with himself after that. Quite sad, actually, though, to be a grown man and to be on the internet trying to pick fights with people. I mean, the way I grew up, guys, and I don't know about you guys, but the way I grew up was, if you have a problem with somebody, you go find a quiet little alley and you just handle it. You know, like, when I was coming up in the 90s in New York, and it was certainly not the toughest period in New York's history. I mean, the 70s and 80s were a lot worse, but, you know, people still scrapped. And if you didn't like somebody, you just go, you know, you handle your business. And sometimes you even shake hands afterwards. You know, obviously we had some of the same problems that exist today in America with guns and violence and things like this, but there definitely was a lot more like, if you don't like somebody, you go deal with them, you know? You don't go online and talk shit behind a computer screen where you're safe. We used to call them telephone tough guys, but I guess the technology has advanced. I don't know, to me it's kind of pathetic because, for one, why are you so focused on other men? And for two, you know, if you're actually trying to grow, like say you have a YouTube, or say you're doing something with social media, the most productive thing you can do is to collaborate with people, not to create drama. You know, the algorithm for all these social media apps has cooperation built right into it. You know, when you collaborate with other you know, content creators, it's good for you, it's good for them. Overall, it's a good thing. You know, my homeboy Fookmop, we've done videos together. My homeboy A Photastic Lifestyle up in Da Nang, we've done videos together. Fantastic guy. And listen, guys, if you go into these expat groups, it'll have you believing that everybody out here is a piece of shit. And it's not true. Unfortunately, in Southeast Asia, there is quite a lot of people that are you know, they're losers where they come from. And here, you know, the society will carry them. It's not hard for them to get jobs. Cost of living is low. They get treated like they're somebody because they're white. So that goes to their heads. I don't know, man. It's the same in China, Cambodia, any of these societies where it's very easy and you just can kind of skate by. Oh, here we go, guys. This is a closed street. So this is a street where either they found a case or an F1. So they closed down the whole street. Yeah, it's a little crazy at the moment, like I said, and people are asking questions online, and then you've got trolls shitting on them. It's like, what's the point, man? Like, you think you're fucking hot shit because what, you have a partnership visa? You know, it's like I came out here and in 4 years, man, well, a little over 4 now, but in that time, I went from teaching in a public school and living in a service department to having my own online consulting business, working with agents and real estate people, job recruiters, international schools, language centers, all over the country, living in a luxury building and having complete location independence to where I can work online. And some of these cats have been here for years. Hey guys, ciao. Hey, hey. And they've never accomplished anything. You know, they're still like bitter and angry, and I mean, it really, to me, it's a personal problem. And unfortunately, it's very common here in Southeast Asia. I mean, like I said, in any society where it's a little too easy, you know? Like a good example of this is in China. You want to talk about some real degenerate pieces of shit. You get these motherfuckers who, you know, a lot of people don't understand that in China, they basically pick you up at the airport if you're coming out there to teach. And then they stick you in a hotel, they drive you around, they do everything for you. You don't have to do anything for yourself. They carry you from the minute you get off the plane. You know, so for some people, that kind of treatment goes right to their head. They don't realize that it's just because they can make money on you. It's not that you're actually special. You know, it's like, it's a big business, you know? In Vietnam, they don't do shit like that. But they still treat you pretty good and pay you pretty well. And that really does go to some of these guys' heads. I mean, you take half these clowns that are trolling online, you stick them in any city in the West, they are not going to have a good-looking girlfriend. They're probably not going to have a girlfriend at all. Oh, look. It's kind of a cool couch. They're not going to have shit in their lives. They're going to be nobody. They're going to be working out of fucking Walmart, you know? or like cleaning bathrooms in Penn Station or some shit, you know? And, you know, they come here and they get treated like a professional, and, you know, women that are out of their league talk to them. But to be honest, guys, like, you know, all the guys I know out here that are like good people and are you know, they're good intention, they've been here for a while, they all have girlfriends who earn as much money as they do. They all have girlfriends who speak good English. You know, it's just these kind of guys who are clowns in their home countries, and they come to the developing world because they have a power dynamic and they feel as though it makes them special here, you know. But instead of just recognizing it for what it is, like I do, you know, that's why I call myself the white monkey, guys, because it's a joke, you know. I don't think I'm hot shit. I saw an opportunity here and I leveraged it, and that makes some people very angry. This is something that they personally could not do, you know, and anger breeds jealousy, and one thing leads to the next, and, you know, people are insecure and they get mad, and instead of trying to better themselves, they try to disparage others and shit on people. You know, I appreciate all the guys who try to tell me when somebody's talking shit about me, but I don't actually care, guys. Unless the guy's gonna put his hands on me, I'm not worried about anybody here. You know, I'm not the toughest guy around. There's plenty of people tougher than me. I'm getting older, I'm 38. But I had some fights, man. I had some ring fights. Trained jiu-jitsu for a long time. I was a nightclub bouncer for a very long time. I'm not a tough guy, but I'm not afraid of most of these motherfuckers. I can take care of myself. You know, I prefer, you know, to dialogue with people, but some of these guys are just so fucked. Like, I mean, some of these cats are like, they're out here because, like I said, where they come from, they're nobody. They're not physically strong, they're not emotionally strong, but if you're emotionally strong, you don't really have to shit on other people. That's a sign of insecurity and weakness. You know, there's a lot of people who talk a lot of shit and act like they know something, and they think they're fucking experts, and or they think that there's just no way that I could actually be well connected here because they've been here forever and they're not. But again, it's just, you know, it's projection, guys. It's they're projecting their insecurities onto others. You know, I just think it's mental and emotional weakness. And I feel sort of sorry for them in a way. You know, spend a whole life in a little world of just anger and insecurity. Must be very draining. I don't know, I'm very happy. I'm sad that some of the stuff that's happening in Vietnam right now is happening. But I gotta say overall, you know, I'm really coming out ahead here. We're getting into District 1 now. It's a nice little walk. Like I said, I've been wanting to do this for a bit. I will miss Saigon, guys. This has been my home now for quite a while. I have some really good friends. There's people here I really love. And, you know, don't let what you see in the forums trick you. There are actually really good expats here. There are some really great people here. Try to involve yourself in sports or some kind of an activity. Because these sad, pathetic losers, they're mostly at home, on their computer, drinking, you know, or with their girl who doesn't understand what they're saying. You know, try to surround yourself with positive people, and if you come here with a purpose, you're gonna be successful, you know? This is a place where you can really accomplish a lot. And I was only here for a little bit over 4 years, and man, I've completely changed my life, and I've really learned a lot. And I think I'll always be grateful to Vietnam for that, but I do believe it's time to get on. So while my TRC is still pretty sweet, I may as well start trying to get out of here, because getting out of here is not that straightforward at the moment. So, you know, the sooner you start, I guess, the better. If you are still thinking about coming to Vietnam, I think it's probably gonna be maybe better to try around August. Let's see how it goes with containing this, because at the moment it's a shit show, guys. It's an absolute fucking disaster. I mean, I am literally walking down the street and there is nobody here. And we're like middle of the week, 4 or 5 o'clock, rush hour. It's a little scary, guys. You know, the politics is a little bit messy at the moment. So sit tight and just, you know, if you have any questions, reach out to us on the Facebook fan page, you know, and we'll try to advise you the best we can on when we think it's going to be a better situation. We can still help some people get in. If you've got all your credentials, we can find jobs for you. If you're in and you're really in need of getting a TRC and a work permit, holler at us, because we can arrange jobs and we can tailor them to you to where it's very close to where you're living. You don't have to work that much, but you'll be fully legal. So we can do a lot of that as well. So just reach out if you have any questions, and obviously we'll do what we can to help you. Well, getting into D1, let's go see what it looks like. Fixing the SADAP. So yeah, we're in District 1 now, still a ghost town. Oh, more garbage, bummer. But yeah guys, it's a little bit of a nutty time. I feel really sorry for everybody who's having visa troubles, and now they can't get grabs to the airport and they're trying to arrange cars. People are panicking, people are making crazy decisions. It's just it's quite sad, you know? I really do wish everybody the best, and I hope that whatever ends up happening, that you're safe and that you can get on with your life, you know? Yeah, so, you know, you got a lot of these kind of sad troll losers screaming that, oh, if you just follow the rules and blah, blah, blah. These guys have no fucking idea what they're talking about. You know, I met an older fella just the other night in Tao Dien. He came up to us on the street, and he's been living here. He fought in the Vietnam War. He left, he went home. As soon as Vietnam reopened, he returned, and he's been here since. His kids are here, his grandkids are here. He's not married. Vietnam has no retirement visa. Now he's got 15 days to leave the country. I mean, and then these fucking losers, these scumbags online, they're gonna fucking say that this guy's not following the rules. I mean, this was the rules. This was like how it was done, man, you know? It's quite sad, actually, and they blame these guys, and they try to make it sound like they did something wrong, when this is just the way that people stayed for the longest. You know, I've heard a lot of stories recently, people who moved out here with their whole families, trying to get a better life, coming from countries that have a lot of problems like South Africa or the United States with this whole pandemic. They came out here with all their hopes, and now a lot of them are getting booted out of the country. And it's not only people who had shady business visas, guys. People who are trying to change jobs and have a temporary business visa to bridge them until they can get their work permits with the new employer, suddenly being denied. People who have investment visas, suddenly being denied. People who own properties out here but have been living here on business visas, suddenly denied. But you know, it all comes down to money. If you pay enough, you're going to be able to stay. Like I said, we can help arrange work permits and TRCs. At the moment, the only way that it can be done is it has to be 100% above board, so you'll be required to teach. We can make it as part-time as possible. If you guys are interested, just reach out and we'll do what we can to help you. There's, you know, the problem is there's no fixed rules here, guys. Oh yeah, check it out. So this is the bridge they're building that's gonna go across the river. It's pretty cool, I think. I'm not sure if this is the subway or this is the new bridge. I think this might just be the new bridge. But the rules change every 5 minutes. So when you see some fucking troll, oh, you should have just followed the rules. Well, the rules will fucking be different by next week. The new government, we don't really know how it's gonna play out yet. We're kind of just all going along and seeing what happens. And I suspect we're not gonna know a whole lot until after this outbreak is over. Because right now it's very difficult to have any clarity because we're right in the middle of all this shit. So when you're in the middle of it, it's really difficult to kind of see where it's gonna go when it does settle down. And maybe things will start to relax if they can get enough people vaccinated. But as of right now, guys, they have absolutely decimated a lot of different industries. Tourism is done. Throwing out all the foreigners. English teaching is gonna be done. And you got these idiots who are like, oh, these unqualified teachers. And the way I see it is, what's better? An unqualified teacher or no fucking teacher at all? You know, and that's what these public schools are gonna have. They're not gonna have a teacher. There's gonna be nobody who can do these jobs. Let's try to cross over here. I don't know how bad this is gonna be. Try to cross. But you gotta understand the scale of the industry and the demand, guys. I think Vietnam is fucking delusional if they think that they're gonna get people who have degrees in education with experience to work in Ho Chi Minh City public schools. I mean, I think they're absolutely kidding themselves. And I suspect that come the beginning of the school year, there's gonna be a big scramble to get some teachers who are willing to work. So you're gonna see a lot of relaxing of those type of rules. I'm pretty sure of that. Even now, man, they're saying publicly that you have to have a degree in education. It's not really true. A degree in anything, you can get the work permit. And even right now, guys, if you don't have the degree, you can just pay. There's still service companies that are able to get you a work permit or TRC without a degree. It's just more expensive than usual. And a few of them have stopped doing it, but there's still quite a few that are. There's about 4 major companies, 3 of them are still doing it. I think we can expect some serious change in policy, and that's quite unfortunate, because I think Vietnam opening up a bit was actually quite a good thing. You know, the thing is, guys, is people talk a lot of shit about expats, and they say everybody's a bum, but you got to understand, man, there's a lot of people who came out here. Like, I know one guy, he came out here, he started his own little pizza stand, you know? Like, he just started a little business, boom, you know? I got another friend out here who creates his own, you know, luxury high-end baked goods. I know people out here who work online, and they don't do anything that could take money from a local. They just completely contribute to the Vietnamese economy. They don't take anyone's job, and they spend money. I know stories of retirees who teach English to kids for free, just to kind of, you know, they live here, they spend their pensions here. I really don't see how in any way these people are causing any harm to the society. But obviously, you know, there's a shift in a very different direction now, and I guess we're gonna all have to see how far this is going. All right, so we are in D1, complete ghost town, completely empty. Yeah, we're gonna have to see how far this goes, I guess. You know, it's disappointing. It doesn't limit me too much. I mean, like, if anything, this has actually been better for my business, because, you know, a lot more people need our help now than they did before. So we've shown that we can evolve through all the different changes here, and we're able to help people through. And our network is just getting bigger and bigger, guys. We're gonna be offering services in Cambodia. We can help get you into Bali. We can set you up in China, depending on what credentials you have and how much money you have, because getting into China is not cheap at the moment. Getting into Vietnam is next to impossible at the moment. It's very difficult to get into Cambodia too at the moment, but we're setting up the infrastructure so when these countries do start to open up, we're going to be in a really good position to help people get on their feet out here in Asia. We're also going to start expanding into different markets where people can get long stay visas and where the country does want long stay visas. So, you know, you guys can look for that as well. We've got some really cool stuff kind of starting to happen, and we're going to do some more, you know, traveling and unlocking, you know, expat living for the average person. But that's what this is really all about for me, you know. I want to show people that you don't have to be some hotshot, some rich boy yuppie to be able to travel the world. That anybody can do it, and there's all these little life hacks and ways to kind of make things work, you know. And I think that's like really become my calling, is to kind of unlock travel and unlock the world for people who are maybe they never thought that they could do something like that, you know. We've been able to help a lot of people come to Vietnam. It's been quite amazing. We've helped people get into China, and now we're going to be expanding. We're going to be offering locations all over the world. So I think it'll be really cool to watch. And guys, if you have a YouTube, even if you're really small, you can reach out to us anytime. We're always happy to collaborate with anybody. You know, we're not like these fucking hater, weirdo, troll losers, you know. You know, we're all about supporting each other and growing. So even if you have a small channel, just holler at us, you know. And we're happy to work with anybody. We're gonna go stroll through this neighborhood and see what we find. Sometimes I like getting lost in these little back alleys, guys. guys. I love these little back alleys. You just absolutely never know what you're gonna find. D1 is kind of a cool place. I feel really sorry for a lot of the local businesses. There's a lot of people really hurting, man. A lot of these expats, like I said, you know, it's a mixed bag. You get some good, you get some bad, but a lot of these people support a lot of industry here. They support a lot of jobs, restaurants, businesses, service departments. They use Grabs, they use taxis, they pay for visas. So this situation is quite, I don't know, quite disappointing, I guess I would say. Let's see if I can get through here, if I'm gonna have to turn around. But this is cool, this is a cool little neighborhood. But it makes me very sad because a lot of people are suffering, guys. This last lockdown is really hurting a lot of people economically. Some of this is not their fault, guys. I mean, the US has made these drugs completely inaccessible and unaffordable for a lot of countries. And instead of, you know, like the polio vaccine, making it free for the world, they're hoarding it and trying to make money on it. So I don't blame them necessarily for going to whoever's gonna provide them with the vaccine, but the whole situation is pretty sad. And you know, I love Saigon. I've been here a number of years now, and just quite sad to see things going the way they are. I guess ultimately, I was planning on moving on anyway. I don't plan to spend the rest of my life here. I mean, like I said, at least we're fortunate, you know? We're in a good position with the visas. We have time to get out. We can get out the right way, you know? And even for us, trying to get out while we still are in good standing is complicated because the virus, they've really lost control of it here, guys. Unfortunately, I think Vietnam is about to experience what a lot of the rest of the world has. Man, that was pretty cool. Look, we're right back where we started. You gotta love these little alleyways, man. So, yeah, I guess disappointed would probably be the word. All right, so we will continue our little walk today, guys, and see what we see. A lot of Japanese restaurants over here. This is kind of like the little Tokyo of District 1, but there's like a proper little Tokyo that's over in Bintan. Actually, a Japanese jiu-jitsu brother of mine lives over there with his family. He's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy. He just happens to be from Japan. It's not Japanese, the style. He's actually a Japanese guy who trains Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Funny, right? And he lives over there in Japantown. So I've spent some time over there. This is not really Japantown, but this is kind of like a little bit of a Japantown for D1. It's a little bit like how in New York we have several different Chinatowns. Like, you know, we have Chinatown Manhattan, we have Flushing, which is kind of like a mix of a China and Koreatown. And then we have Chinatown in Brooklyn on 5th Avenue in Sunset Park. I think it's a little bit like that. There's a couple spots where there's a lot of Japanese here in District 1, but also Bintan, and it's quite a lot where I live actually in the Tao Dien area. It's a mixed bag, more really Korean, Japanese, Western. District 7, quite a lot of Korean, but also some Western expats. That's one of the things that's so great about Saigon is it's really got everything. I mean, it's a great city, and you know, I'm still seeing a lot of smiling faces. I mean, even with the hard times and even with somewhat of the anti-foreigner attitude that's permeating around, there's still a lot of people who don't feel that way and who are happy that foreigners are here, but you still get warm smiles from people. You do get some dirty looks, more so than previous lockdowns, which is unfortunate, but you know, if that's the messaging that's coming from the state, you know, then it's kind of understandable. It's a little bit hard to blame people. You know, you have a lot of people who are maybe not all that educated, and it's not hard to kind of convince them that these outsiders are the problem, you know? It's a bit sad because I certainly think very highly of Vietnam, and I think very highly of the Vietnamese people. And I think this is a mistake. I think it's gonna hurt the reputation a lot, and I don't think it's justified because I think that the average Vietnamese people are very hardworking, very honest, very nice people. I don't like seeing people having to leave, but what gets me the most angry is just the attitude of these trolls online. These people, some of these people are in some real dire straits, and now they're they're trying to leave desperately because either their visas weren't extended or whatever happened, and they're not even able to because flights are being canceled, and it's really difficult to even get out of Vietnam at the moment. There's a lot of countries won't accept people who have previously been to Vietnam. Like at the moment, if you're coming out of Vietnam, you can't transit through Dubai. That's a major transit for people who are going towards Europe or other destinations, you know? So you're gonna have to fly through Qatar if you're going that direction. And that creates a lot of problems for people, logistical problems. There's difficulty getting tests. The hospitals are charging an arm and a leg for a test because they know people are desperate and they'll pay. I mean, it's pretty dark, man, you know? I don't, like I said, I don't blame the Vietnamese people. It's not their fault. They don't really have a say in what happens in their society. But it is pretty cold-blooded that they're doing this to us at the moment. I'm fortunate, you know? I have time to try to get out. If my flight gets canceled, I'm not really in any big trouble. My visa's good for a while, pretty much till next year. I've done what I need to do here, and it's time to start doing other stuff, expanding, offering different locations, making new content for you guys, building new relationships and contacts, and expanding our network. And, you know, I think it makes sense to start trying to get out while we're in good standing, you know, so I don't end up in a situation like these people that are being rushed out. And like, I don't blame a lot of them, man. Yeah, sure, there's some people who just got by and just fucking drank all the time, and, you know, they didn't take life too seriously, and they thought the party was gonna last forever. And yeah, I mean, you could have kind of put some responsibility there as well, but I mean, guys, they change the rules every 5 minutes. You can't follow the rules here, but tomorrow the rules will be something totally different. I mean, it's just, you have to be really adaptive if you want any chance of being successful in Vietnam, you know? You have to be extremely adaptive, and you have to have an exit strategy, and you have to have a plan for being here. Now, if you're gonna marry, you know, you can stay. I mean, you're gonna still have to keep renewing, but, you know, you're never gonna be part of the society. I mean, no matter how many years you live here, even if you speak perfect Tiếng Viet, you're never gonna be Vietnamese. And they've made that abundantly clear. Now, I'm not saying the locals feel that way, but for sure the state does. And I'm certain quite a few locals do feel that way. Look how empty this is, guys. Jesus Christ. There's just nobody around. Vietnam's gonna be in some serious lockdowns for the foreseeable future. And if you're thinking about coming here, it's probably gonna be pretty difficult until these lockdowns pass. And once that happens, we should have some sort of a path forward, and we should kind of know where we stand. But like, as of right now, it's very difficult. If you're highly qualified, we can probably get you in. We can find somebody to hire you and arrange everything for you. But if you don't have all the documents, my suggestion would be wait till August. I'm hoping, for the sake of the people here who rely heavily on the business that comes into Saigon, the tourism, the investment, the expats, I hope things do get better, because people rely on this money. Lots of really cool businesses that I've known, restaurants, services, they're gone. They haven't been able to survive. And you know, these guys, these fucking troll scumbags, they talk so much shit online, like, oh, all these visa agents are crooks and blah, blah, blah. It's fucking bullshit, guys. I worked with like 10 different agents. A lot of them are really good people. Some of them, you know, they are what they are, you know? They still have a purpose. You can use them for certain things. But some of them are genuinely really good people. Like, they really have tried their best to not hurt their customers, and they just operated within the framework of, you know, what was standard practice for like 10 years, you know? They're not bad people, and they're not dishonest. It's just the rules keep changing. They change 3 times in a fucking day sometimes. It's ridiculous. How are you supposed to keep up with that? That's not the agent being dishonest. That's the whole system is crazy. They're just trying to keep up with it. And I mean, you know, like I said, you got a million fucking idiot experts online who think they know something. 90% of these fucking guys don't know anything. Some of them been here a long time, they still don't know anything. We met, you know, my old lady, she works with one fella, and he's been here longer than us, and he doesn't even understand the saving face aspect of the culture. How can you live here that long? You don't even understand the concept of saving face. I guess that's what it comes down to, guys, is, you know, stupid people can get a passport too. But unfortunately, in this part of the world where, like I said earlier, life is kind of easy, you know, well, I forgot what somebody said. Somebody said cheap locations attract cheap people. And I do think there is some truth to that. I also believe it attracts innovative people and people who have good ideas. So I don't think that, you know, coming to a cheap destination is a bad thing. But just bear in mind, guys, there's this very, very toxic element here of expats. Sad, depraved, lonely losers who think they're tough, hiding behind a keyboard, just waiting to criticize people and try to poke people at their lows. It's quite sad, actually. It's quite pathetic. I wish one of these motherfuckers would say something to me, to my face. But that'll never happen. Yeah, I still do wish one of these troll motherfuckers would have the balls to come and say something to my face. Like I said, you know, they're prisoners of their own failures, and they're for sure not tough in a street way, because if they were, they'd come and fucking step to your boy. I've already shown the name of my jiu-jitsu club. You know, for the last few years, I've talked about the times that I go to training. I've shown the buildings I lived in, and never once has anybody come and popped off, you know? And like I said, I ain't the toughest guy in the world, but I for sure ain't no punk. So if you want to come and fucking try me, you feel there's something you need to do, you go right the fuck ahead. But jibba jabba, you know, and chatty patty online, I got no time for that. From here on, I'm just blocking these fools. You know, you want to fucking come bring it in the street, you know, you reach out to me on the Facebook fan page and you just tell me when, homie. But if you're gonna run your mouth behind a computer screen, I'm just gonna block you, man. I'm not your fucking parents. I don't have time to give you the attention you need. These kind of cats are just fucking losers anyway. So we cruising D1, total ghost town. Like I said earlier, the whole city is under Directive 16. So there's not a whole lot going on at the moment. Kind of sad actually, because these are all businesses, hotels. This area is the nicest part of Saigon. We're almost on Don Quixote Street. Most expensive real estate in Saigon is nobody here. It's pretty depressing. I feel pretty bad. Because I love Vietnam and I don't want to see people hurting. Like I said, I'm lucky I dotted all my I's and crossed all my T's, so at least I don't have to rush out of here. Like if for some reason my flight gets canceled, we get an Airbnb and we head over to a different location, wherever the hell is easy to get into, because right now it's difficult to go anywhere. The people I feel sorry for are the ones who are already overstaying their visas and are in trouble. And if their flights were to get canceled, they would be in some real deep shit. Whereas for us, it's like, all right, you know, it would be a bummer. We would lose a bit of money, but, you know, at least we're in good standing with the visa for a while. So if there is a problem, we're not fucked. And I'm really happy about that, because fuck, you know, I'm able to have empathy and I'm able to put myself in other people's shoes. And I can't even imagine how hard it must be for some people to have to pick up their lives and go. So now we're over in the French Quarter of District 1 by Don Coy Street. Definitely the most expensive real estate in Saigon. Empty beer gardens, empty shopping malls. I mean, I don't know what the plan is. It's none of my business. I'm not privy to it. But I feel like this is just gonna hurt people. I mean, it's just gonna hurt people, and it makes me sad because, you know, there's a lot of people who have developed their whole entire life around servicing the tourists, the foreigners, and now it's not gonna happen. I mean, you know, some of these people have been here for a long time. They contribute to Vietnam. They spend all their money here. There's a lot of countries that are opening up now, guys. You know, and I felt like it would have been very smart for Vietnam to get a share of that, you know, this new digital economy that's emerging. But, you know, greed wins the day once again, and I don't know, not much you can do about it, I guess. But I mean, look at this, guys, everything closed, 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 closed. You know, it's not a good thing. And this is the main bread basket for the entire country, guys. Saigon makes the money for the whole country. I mean, there's some industry up in Hanoi, so they're not as dependent on tourism as some countries, but it's an enormous sector of the economy. And the long stay expats contribute a lot financially to the economy as well. It's really, really sad, actually. I feel sorry for the local people. A lot of people depend very heavily on these tourists, you know. Now we're on Wing Hui. This is the main walking, this is kind of like a walking street. That whole park area is closed off now because of the pandemic. And the tower up there is Bitaco. You still have some cafes that open for takeaway, but mostly everything's closed. I don't know. I'm moving on. I feel like the writing's on the wall. I don't want to be in some lockdown for the next fucking 4 months. Thailand is opening up. Cambodia is opening up. They're saying by July, Thailand is going to be open. You know? I mean, I'm glad Vietnam kept us safe. I'm glad that they did the best to keep the virus out. And I've just walked through from Binh Thanh into District 1. Just blocks and blocks of empty businesses, empty restaurants, empty shops. I don't know. Like I said, it's not up to me. But this whole, like, never letting foreigners naturalize, even if they invest a lot of money, it's fucked up, man. You know, imagine all the problems we have in the West. If you invest the money, eventually you will be able to naturalize. You'll get a work visa in some situations, or an investment visa, EB-5, and eventually you'll get a green card, and eventually you'll be a citizen. So even if there are stupid racist people, at least you'll eventually have this right to naturalize. And here in Asia, you never will. It's not just Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia. No matter how much you think you're part of the society, you're not, and you never will be. I don't think it's a bad place. I think, you know, the people are fantastic. That's what kept me here for so long. I love the Vietnamese people. The food is great. The culture is good. Saigon is a beautiful city, you know, but I guess times are changing, and I hope it works out, because I don't harbor any ill will or anger, because I'm not being pushed out. I'm choosing to leave because what I'm seeing just doesn't give me any confidence in staying. I've done what I needed to do here. I don't need to teach anymore. If you still want to come and make a few bucks teaching, this is still a great place to do that. It's just gotten a lot more complicated. But we'll see in September, because, you know, there's, like I said, man, even now there's still, you can still get work permits without degrees. You just got to pay money. It's all about money, guys. This concept like, oh, you're a guest, you're a guest. Can you imagine if we had that same attitude? I mean, America's immigration policies are horrendous. They're terrible. But you can eventually become a citizen, where they don't like permanently lock you out of the society. And I sort of understand protectionism to some extent, because You don't want to be economically colonized by anyone, obviously. I mean, I fully understand that. And like, I have deep sympathy for those who are actually really going to be in a rough spot and having to rush out of the country desperately. And some of these people have kids here, and they maybe aren't married to their partner. Some of these people have businesses here, kind of like, you know, there's a lot of situations that aren't black and white, guys. Like, just because somebody has an investment visa doesn't mean you can't get, you know, hemmed up in this. There's a lot of things happening that I think a lot of people don't realize. And if you're not working around visas or working with companies that are dealing with foreigners, like schools and things like that, I think it's kind of easy to get caught up in what you hear online. And there's a lot more going on than what you're hearing online. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up. We're getting out of here within the next week or so if everything goes well. Like I said, I have no hard feelings. I love Vietnam. I love the Vietnamese people. I've always said since I've come here that, you know, Vietnam needs to figure out what's right for Vietnam. And unfortunately, I guess this is all part of that process. And no matter where I go in life, I'll never forget this place. I'll never forget the Vietnamese people. I will always love Vietnam. And I will always have a lot of respect for the Vietnamese people. They're some of the most hardworking and honest people, and they put up with a lot of shit. Their lives are not easy, and they are still able to be happy and make the best of very difficult, challenging situations. So I hope that those of you who come here, you come here for the right reasons, you use the time in a productive way, and you do have a plan, because at the moment, you know, it's a lot of turmoil and chaos. All I hope is that whatever does happen, that the lives of the locals improve, and that people are able to, you know, have some sort of peace in their lives, because this pandemic has fucked everything up and created all kinds of problems for everybody. And you know, I don't revel in anyone else's unhappiness. I'm not a bitter, sick fuck like these troll losers online. I just want to see people happy. I want to see peace in the world. There's enough anger and violence, and I don't know. I just want to see everybody, you know, have a little bit less suffering in their lives. You did. That's it for me today, guys. That was a little bit of a stroll from District 1 to Binh Thanh. We're going down some memory lane and trying to think back to better times. I've gotten some really warm hellos on this walk, some smiles. There's a lot of people in Vietnam who still have a lot of love for foreigners. The whole country is not on the anti-foreigner trip. Be careful, keep your visas in as good standing as possible. And if you need our help, reach out to us and we'll do everything we can to help you. You know, whenever there's changes, we try to be flexible and we try to adapt to those changes and work within to keep you guys as safe as we can, you know. You know, our reputation, you know, we stand by it. We've helped a lot of people and we're gonna continue to do so. And we're gonna continue to expand. And jealous, insecure haters can hate all the fuck they want. You're never gonna be me and you're never gonna achieve what I achieve because you're too busy being angry and bitter. And that's your shortcomings, no one else's. So, you know, I appreciate my time in Vietnam. I love this country. I love the people. I wish nothing but happiness and success for them. And it breaks my heart what's happening right now. And, you know, like I said, it's not up to me. If you need our help, reach out to us. And of course, we're gonna do what we can do to help you. Subscribe and share, ring the bell. So, you know, we appreciate your support. Check us out on Instagram also. Links are in the comments section below. And thanks for all the support all this time, guys. And on to the next chapter. Peace.
Brush your face and wash your teeth, son.
Hey, what's up? I'm D from Canada.
Hook up with the New York Nomad if you want a smooth ride into Vietnam or any Southeast Asian countries.
Hey, my name is Aaron. Get in contact with the New York Nomads. If you want to get into Vietnam, hit them up. They'll get you in securely and professionally.
Yo, this is Uncle Hollywood. I'm telling you right now, the New York Nomad got me a job. He's legit. Hit him up. Check him out.
New York Nomad set me up in Vietnam.
Yo, my man got me a job. Come to Vietnam.
Hey, what's up, guys? You thinking about coming to Vietnam? You're not sure where to start? You've heard a lot of things online. You don't know what's true, you don't know what's not. We offer a consulting service where we help you get on your feet in Vietnam. We give you advice on negotiating contracts with employers. We help you with real estate agents, visa agents that are reliable and that you can trust. We help you get started in this amazing country and get on your feet. We help you get into different opportunities that might be more difficult for you if you were just landing in the country on your own. And we help you avoid a lot of the pitfalls and problems that you could have as a newcomer here. We provide you with reliable job recruiters, visa agents, real estate agents, and advice. If you guys are thinking about coming to Vietnam, hit us up for a consultation. We'll help you get started, help you get on your feet, and hopefully you'll love Vietnam as much as we do.